We have probably all seen these beautiful Septarian nodules for sale in rock shops and on eBay and other places online. These particular Septarian nodules, I believe, are mined in Utah someplace. I've always had people tell me they're from Utah. My daughter actually got this one from a rock shop here in Fort Collins for me for Christmas one year. That's a beautiful, beautiful example. But did you know we also have Septarian nodules right in the Billings area, in the South Hills, up towards Laurel? They're actually quite common in the hills there. And what those hills are composed of is known as the Bear Paw Shale. The Bear Paw Shale also underlies Billings, the surrounding area. It underlies the rims, and it is full of these Septarian nodules. And what I'm showing you here is a set of bookends that I actually made from one. Of course, you could find them in the hills, but since we're talking about rocks found in the Yellowstone River, I'm going to show you some examples that I have, one of which is this. You can see that it's river rounded. Because when you find them in the hills, you really don't see the veins much, because the veins are all inside the stone. But after the river rounds it for a while, the veins begin to show. I'll show you guys the other side. In the video, the Yellowstone River, so much more than agates, we talked about mechanical weathering and how these concretions don't do well. They probably don't roll in the river very far before they either are hammered to smithereens or the frost gets in them and pries them apart. But if you go out in the spring or in the summer right after the flood and the river has had a chance to pluck fresh nodules off the riverbed and leave them in the gravel bar, and then you find them before these things have had a chance to work on them, they're beautifully revealed. You can see the veining really shows up nicely. Here's another one here that I cut and polished. So on the outside, again, you can see the veins nicely exposed. So what we see in our nodules is, first, the cracks were lined with what is known as aragonite, which is the darker mineral that you see. And they actually deposited kind of in concentric layers, as in this example, really nicely. Aragonite is the darker, calcite is the lighter. Chemically, they're very similar. I think there's another mineral called siderite, which might be the really dark stuff. Those of you who are well into geology, you might correct me in the comments. I would appreciate it. So from years ago, honestly, I got this piece when I was still a teenager. But we used to go in the South Hills. Much of that land, I believe, is owned by the Billings Motorcycle Club now. I'm not sure how that all is. I haven't been back there in years. But this is a piece from a larger concretion, the really big ones. I mean, they're the size of cars. And you can break into them, and they have beautiful cavities. Most of them are lined with this druzy red calcite, or maybe it's aragonite, but it's really pretty. And then occasionally you'll find these big, clear, striated, I've always assumed they're calcite crystals, but I don't understand how one calcite would grow on another, so there's probably a mineralogical difference here. Could be aragonite versus calcite, or again the siderite. And I've even found blue barite. I don't have any. That all went away in my rock collection that was sold many years ago. But I did manage to conserve this piece. But we would go up there and break those concretions apart and just find spectacular mineral specimens. But in the river, it's kind of a different deal. They're smaller concretions, because I think the big ones would never really roll down the river very far. But these are a size that the river can push around. And again, you want to find them probably within a year of their being dug up and deposited in the gravel, because beyond that, I think you'd find a pile of gravel. They kind of disintegrate. So the Bear Paw Shale is full of these. And of course the river bed, the Yellowstone River bed, at least around Billings, is digging into the Bear Paw Shale every year. Every time there's a flood event, it plucks these off the bottom where they haven't been damaged by frost. And that's when you want to find them. The ones in the hills, if you're lucky, you could find a solid one, but most of them have been worked on by frost quite a bit. And that's why they're nice to break into and get these crystals. As we're mentioning the frost and the damage that it does to these, if you do collect some, I would recommend that you don't leave them sitting in the dirt. Put them up high, put them on some gravel or something so that they're dry most of the time. Obviously they can take a little bit, but when they're sitting in wet dirt, freezing and thawing dozens of times during the winter, that could really destroy them. If you have not done so already, please like, share, and subscribe. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the series. We still have a lot of rocks to cover.